So thank you for being here. It's
Nice.
the first day of school is coming up. Let's see, where am I? Is it going? It's not working, Brian.
It should work now.
Okay. So it's a new school year,
Uh-huh.
and this is the first time for me that in a long time that I haven't been standing in front of a class or getting ready for my students to come in. So I appreciate being able to get excited vicariously for other people. Dr. Feason, I know you have a little bit of a break right now, so we might have to, you and I can be remembering things that we did before, the excitement of it and everything. Whoops, I'm going the other way. So when we are, why is this got the thing at the bottom there, Brian?
There's art then.
Thank you. Okay, so when you look at the roster for before you get into your class, what are the feelings that you have or the thoughts that you have when you're just looking at your empty roster? Sometimes we're excited. We have the thought, oh, I know that guy. Wonder if he's related to somebody I had before. There's a lot more in here than I thought there were. You know, but right now there's still empty faces. It was so interesting driving onto campus the other day, today actually, and they're saying, welcome back, class of 2020, right? Class of 2020, that means if you're an incoming freshman, you were not born, or you were just born when September 11th happened, right? And online, we have people who are coming back to school, friends of mine in their 50s who are taking their very first online course. So who knows what these people are, who they are, what their background is. We just don't know. I had the privilege of being a face-to-face teacher for many years, and so you have still your empty roster at the beginning, and the question is, how am I going to move from this to this, where we have esprit de corps, folks are relating to each other, they're comfortable, they're happy, especially in an online course. How do I build that? Last week we talked about building teacher presence. How do I put myself into my course when people can't see me? We talked about all different strategies for that. And today we're focusing on building student-centered teaching, bringing out the personalities and the styles of the individual students, and also fostering the growth of their multiple intelligences so that they're increasing their skills in the different formats. And how do we do that in online learning? So multiple learning styles. There's actually, we're comparing multiple learning styles and multiple intelligences. It can be a little bit confusing, but they're two different things. So learning styles is defined as the way human beings prefer to concentrate on, store, and remember new or difficult information. And multiple intelligence is a theoretical framework for defining, understanding, assessing, developing people's different intelligence factors, right? That's what it is. But here's a little bit of a simplified, very, very simplified version of it. A learning style is basically, how do I bring in my information? What is the best way for me to input information? And then multiple intelligence has more to do with output. What are my strengths in terms of the things that I produce and the skills that I present? So they work together. There's research that says it validates and also argues both points, but what I've seen in the research is when you accommodate both together is really the best way to meet the needs of the learners. And really that's just common sense, right? So let's take a look at learning styles. So this is kind of fun. You're gonna look at what is your learning style. So if you could go into, here's a little alley. This is the website, and is it on?
It's all set up on it.
Yeah, if you're wanting to use the laptops, there's and if it says
Answer 20 questions.
Yep, 20 questions. So if you've got your results, first question is, does it match what you know about yourself? Does it, any surprises? No, okay. Generally people are more than one, you know, there's one that you're strong in and then everybody's definitely more than one. But we want to look at the different styles in terms of how they relate to our students and how we can use them in our online class. So auditory learners, anybody surprised that I'm a big auditory? No, right? They should also have a picture of a mouth there because auditory learners, we like to talk too. We hear ourselves. It helps us to learn. Whenever I've got something that I'm learning, I want to talk about it because it really helps me to process and remember it. What are some other things that might help your auditory learners? Podcasts really help. Memorizing stuff. My daughter is an auditory learner and she was having trouble in biology. And I said, well, I don't get it. You can memorize every TV show that you watch. You know, you can do all the voices and all the dialogue. Why can't you memorize your stuff? And she was like, well, I can't hear it. So she recorded herself doing the definitions, the terms, and she would listen to it over and over, and that's how she memorized it. So being able to hear things, these are all really good strategies for an auditory learner. If we had had audiobooks when I was in college, I would have been a much stronger English major because to sit and hold the book, I had to read Moby Dick, you know, and I just wanted to be doing other things and moving around and listening to it. So that was really, really helpful. Video chats are great too. Also putting music on things. When there's the terms and you connect some music with it, it helps you remember the terms or the experience as well. Visual learners. Anybody here a visual learner? Okay, yes, our multimedia professor, and yes. So what helps you as a visual learner in class? What helps you learn and remember things?
Pictures.
Pictures, absolutely. Yeah, pictures are really, really important. Terms having flashcards with the pictures, that helps a lot. Being able to color code things. I know in your class you use a lot of color, and it's very stimulating. That helps you, you know, notes, outlines, lists, videos of things, anything visual we can connect with, and that helps a lot. Okay, a tactile learner. I love this picture. A tactile learner is someone who wants to touch stuff. I have a niece who went from the day she was born, she absolutely must touch whatever's there. If the thing is taken apart, we know Emily did it because she has to touch stuff. And I love this picture because, you know, you want to touch this. It is just, his nails are dirty. He's holding this little bird. One of the questions that we hear about online learning is how are my students supposed to get that hands-on experience in an online class? Well, my answer actually is that the computer is a tactile tool. Actually touching the keys, using the computer, using the mouse, that is actually moving my hands around and I get to access that part of myself. Also, online learning is a much easier environment for people who need to move around. Instead of sitting in a lecture hall where I have to sit still for 1.5 to 3 hours and take notes and not make any noise except asking questions, I want to go crazy, you know? But if I'm a mover, I can get my iPad and go wherever I want and learn. I can get a stand-up desk and do that. Also, if I'm a tapper, you know, somebody's tapping in my class, I'm going to just go crazy because I'm an auditory person, right? I can hear absolutely everything. But online, nobody can hear you tapping away. So that is a really great way for a tactile learner to go. Also, hand-on experiences. There are many ways to get your hands-on experience. It's just a matter of how do you report your evidence? And that is not limited. You know, you can video, you can do, we're going to talk about that in terms of the output as well. But being able to experience things is a great thing for tactile learners. And since we're all since we all are multi-style, it's not going to hurt anybody to do all of these things. The thing I love about this picture is it appeals to all of us. It's visual. We want to touch it, and I can hear the bird chirping. You know, it appeals to everybody. Okay, so we've looked at learning
I
styles.
think it's good.
Okay. Let's take a little break since our one learner is leaving. So, you know, I've had students who are like, Miss, I learn better when I can listen to my music. Like, I don't mind when you're practicing the skill, you're listening to your music, that's fine. But when you're reading, it's not the time you listen to music. You know, I can accept that music helps you, but you're learning a brand new skill and we need to be focused on this. So, you know, we don't want to be negative about how people learn. There's bouncy furniture that they would put in school and let people move around. You know? Okay, so output, fostering multiple intelligences. This is interesting too. We've got another self-assessment here that talks about what are your multiple intelligences, your strengths in terms of the things that you produce. The one thing I say about this little quiz is they talk about, do you like to read? And it doesn't talk about electronic resources, but I would count that. If you spend a lot of time reading online, that counts as reading, right? So we'll take a little time
What,
and do that one as
where do we go?
Okay, cool. So, all right, results. This is a little bit different. They break it down into different categories. Linguistic, logical, mathematical, visual, spatial, interpersonal, interpersonal, musical, kinesthetic, and naturalistic. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this is me, totally. All about people, a lot of talking. How was your results? Are they what you would expect them to be? Okay. Now, do we see in class that we tend to teach according to our own strengths? Yeah. In my class, you will absolutely hear my students go, okay, miss, we got it. You can stop talking now. Let us do what we need to do. So it takes some concrete planning and thinking through to kind of say, how can I meet the needs of my movers? How can I increase maybe musical skill or visual spatial skill or mathematical? And certainly in media, there's a lot of opportunity to do that, it would seem. Do you have maybe a story or an insight about how you have done that?
What in terms of teaching? Or?
Yeah, or learning, whatever, any kind of experience.
Not off the top of my
Not
head.
yet. Okay. So yeah, here's another visual, which is kind of, there's a lot going on here. But I think it's appropriate because your students have a lot going on. This is just different styles. We haven't even started talking about brain function in terms of whether you're right brain or left brain or concrete, abstract, all that stuff. And we haven't talked about background, what country you come from, you know, how you were raised, what people told you, how old you are, how young you are, all of these things. So really, it comes down to just like I, as a teacher, am a person, and it's going to take my expression of myself to communicate who I am. We need to remember, and of course, you, student, are also a person. I'm interested in you and what you bring to the table. There's this interpersonal piece that we really want to see happen in online learning, because you take the 19-year-old student and the 55-year-old student, and how can I connect the two of them together so that they bring their strengths to each other, that they interact with the content, but also put their own learning experience into that piece, then you've got something really neat happening. And the fact that they can do it from different places, they don't have to meet up in a particular physical spot to make that happen. It can be really neat. Okay, fostering the development of multiple intelligences. Just some of the different inputs that are evidence that we can make happen in class. Certainly projects that if we use rubrics to say, here's the content, you must hit the content. It can't just be about the form of the project, but rubrics are really helpful with that in terms of here's the content that I want to see, but within that, do it any way you want. Make a video, show me slides of physical models or things that you made, reports, however you want to do it. In education, we do reports about, I went to class and here's what I did, and here's the evidence of what happened with my students, the data. Any way that we can allow that to happen, it's just fabulous. We had a Google slide, but that's for when we have a lot of people. It's really not necessary. Basically, the research is showing some people want to debate it, like I said, some people are really all about it, but the standard stuff that I'm finding is make them work together. The learning styles and the intelligences, you put them together and you get a winning combination there. So I really want to thank you for your time. Certainly the days before school starts are packed, and summertime and things, your time is the most valuable thing that you have. So I really want to thank you for coming. And we have coming up more professional development on Monday. We're going to help with the Canvas migration. Come on in, we'll help you get started in your Canvas course, whether it's for spring or beyond, doesn't matter. Friday, we have another professional development, and this one is about communication planning, which is really, really important. Then we have Canvas Commons on Monday, and then this is Friday, I think, where garden party, how teaching is like gardening. That's Judy and Mary.
What's communication planning?
Communication planning, that's a great question, is I'm going to tell my students specifically how we will be communicating in class. When and
These are online classes.
Yes, this is primarily online. So that's wrapping it up. Thank you, and that's it. Thank you very much. Thanks, Eric.